Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv. We are in First Chronicles. We are in chapter 23, the Levites. When David was old and full of years, he made his son Solomon king over Israel. He also gathered together all the leaders of Israel, as well as the priests and Levites. The Levites 30 years old or more were counted, and a total number of them was 38,000. David said, "Of these, 24,000 are to supervise the work of the temple of the Lord, and 6,000 are to be officials and judges, 4,000 to be gatekeepers, and 4,000 are to praise the Lord with musical instruments I have provided for that purpose." So very specific, very concerned with how the church is running. Didn't really start with Henry. So you understand. He wasn't the first one. And if you're like Henry, yeah, Henry VIII in the Episcopalian Church. This is not really the start. Martin Luther is really the start. He predates Henry VIII. Didn't really start with either one of them wanting to be involved. It's just Henry was a king and Martin Luther wasn't a king. So, different. David divided the Levites into groups corresponding to the sons of Levi: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Truth. Those are the tribes. Gershonites. So Moses. From Moses. Gershonite. Belonging to the Gershonites: Ladan, Shimei, sons of Ladan, Jehiel the first, Zethem, and Joel. 3 in all. The sons of Shimei: Shelomoth, Haziel, Haran. 3 in all. These were the heads of the families of Ladan. The sons of Shimei: Jahath, Ziza, Z-I-Z-A. It's got a footnote A on that. One Hebrew manuscript, the Septuagint, so it's Greek. The Vulgate, so that's Latin. And some Hebrew manuscripts, Z-I-N-A, like Zena. I like it. Ziza, or Zena. Jeshu. Remember, these are guy names. Jehush, J-E-U-S-H, and Bererai. These are all sons of Shimei, 4 in all. Jahath was the first, and Ziziah the second. But Jeshush and Bererai did not have many sons. So they were counted as one family with one assignment. So they needed both of them, both sets of them, in order to perform the tasks that one family was meant to. So you can see how it is. Each family having a task, and their son only ever being allowed to do for a living what his father did before him. No change. Kohathites. Kohathites. Okay. The sons of Kohath: Aram, Issachar, Hebron, Uziel. 4 in all. The sons of Aram: Aaron and Moses. Oh, look at that. How nice. Aaron was set apart, he and his descendants forever, to consecrate the holy, most holy things, to offer sacrifices before the Lord, to minister before him and to pronounce blessings in his name forever. The sons of Moses, the man of God, were counted as part of the tribe of Levi. Okay. The sons of Moses: Gershom and Eliezer, like Eleazar, but it's E-L-I-E-Z-E-R. Eliezer. The descendants of Gershom: Shushabel was the first. Descendants of Eleazar: Rehabiah, R-E-H-A-B-I-A-H, was the first. Eleazar had no other sons, But the sons of Rehoboam were very numerous. The sons of Issachar, Izar, Shelomoth was the first. The sons of Hebron, Jerarah was the first. Amariah was the second. Jahaziel was the third. And Jekiamem, Jekeameam, the fourth. The sons of Uziel, Micah the first. And it's like Isaiah, but it's an extra S in it. Isaiah, Isshhiah, the second. So, there we are, right? The Merarites, the sons of Merari, Mahali, Mahali, and Mushi. I love that name. I have a friend I used to call Mushy, but she was a girl, so a Y, not an I. Mushi. The sons of Malali, Eleazar and Kish. Eleazar died without having sons. He only had daughters. Their cousins, the sons of Kish, married them. So yes, I married their first cousins. Which for me, it's just like, oh my gosh. I was raised with my first cousins like they were siblings, so that would be really weird for me. The sons of Mushi, Mahali, Eder, and Jerimoth, 3 in all. These were the descendants of Levi by their families, the heads of families, as they were registered under their names and counted individually. That is, the workers 20 years old or more who served in the temple of the Lord. For David had said, since the Lord, the God of Israel, has granted rest to his people and has come to dwell in Jerusalem forever, the Levites no longer need to carry the tabernacle or any of the articles used in its service. And that's very true. They don't have that job anymore. According to the last instructions of David, the Levites were counted from those 20 years old or more. The duty of the Levites was to help Aaron's descendants in the service of the temple of the Lord. It was to be in charge of the courtyards, the side rooms, the purification of all the sacred things, the performance of the other duties in the house of God. So think of it as in a modern day church. You got the pastors who's up front. But how many times do you walk into a church and the only one who's done anything is the pastor? I mean, it's a really small church if the pastor is doing everything themselves. I can tell you that for sure, because I don't have a congregation that I'm holding in some, building someplace. So because I'm only doing everything virtually, I do everything all by myself. If I were trying to do that in a physical service, I mean, the building's got to be cleaned. You got to make all the pamphlets. You got to make all the flyers. You got to, if there's people who need help, you can only help one person at a time, right? For it to expand, it would have to have more people, especially if you have a building, and they have a very specific ritual cleansing process. And I'm going to say, it may seem excessive to a lot of people, but every church has a ritual cleansing process. This is just theirs. They're everyone. I don't care if it's a temple, a mosque, or a church. I can guarantee you, one, they have a cleaning process, because otherwise it'd be a very disgusting building and who'd want to go in there. So just general cleanliness. And then two, there is, even especially for me, even any time of cleaning for me, has a ritual cleansing feeling. It's like you're washing away what doesn't belong there. When you scrub it out when you're angry, you're cleansing inside and out something. That's why I'm a fan of it. And that is true when you're purifying any clean space like that you need to not just be physically clean, but also spiritually clean, which means harsh words in the space, that can't be. It's holy. So when you're in it, it's reverent, right? So all kinds of cleanse have to happen. They were in charge of the bread set out on the table, because, they have to burn these things every single day. The flour for the grain offerings, the unleavened wafers, the baking and the mixing, all the measurements of quantity and size. Because, remember, they're doing this burning of things. Because they don't need to burn every day, on any day when all of Israel is not sinning at all. Millions of people just not sinning. I live in a city. There's millions of people live here. I can guarantee you somebody is sinning right now. Just like that. It's just that simple. So, yeah, in their belief system, they're like, nope, we have to do this every day. Yep, they have to do it every day. They were able to stand every morning to thank and praise the Lord. They were to do the same in the evening. And whenever burnt offerings were presented to the Lord on Sabbaths, at new moon festivals, and appointed feasts, they were to serve before the Lord regularly in the proper number and in the way prescribed for them. And so the Levites carried out their responsibilities for the tent of meeting, for the holy place, and under their brothers, the descendants of Aaron, for the service of the temple of the Lord. And this is not an unusual arrangement. What's unusual to us about it is that it's running in a family, and not just that it's happening at all. So, the next chapter is about the division of priests. So if you're fascinated by anything about the priests, then you should probably come back for Chronicles 24. So until the next video, friends. Hello, friends. Welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister. And we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv. We are in 1 Chronicles. We are in chapter 24. The division of priests. These were the divisions of the sons of Aaron. The sons of Aaron were Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died before their father did, and they had no sons. So Eleazar and Ithamar served as priests. With the help of Zadok, a descendant of Eleazar, and Ahimelech, a descendant of Ithamar, David separated them into divisions for their appointed order of ministering. A large number of leaders were found among Eleazar's descendants, a larger number than among Ithamar's. Interesting. See, because that's about attitude of parenting, right? That's going to be about nurture, since they both come from the same, person initially, right? The nurture of Ithamar versus the nurture of Eleazar. Interesting. And they were divided accordingly. Yeah, who could handle the job? 16 heads of families from Eleazar's descendants and 8 heads of families from Ithamar's descendants. They divided them impartially by drawing lots. That sounds fair. And for they were officials of the sanctuary and officials of God among the descendants of both Eleazar and Ithamar. Okay. The scribe, Shemaiah, son of Nathaniel, it's like Nathaniel but with an N-E, Nethanel, Nathaniel, a Levite, recording their names in the presence of the king and of the officials. Zadok the priest, Ahimelech, son of Abiathar, and the heads of the families of the priests and of the Levites. One family being taken from Eleazar and one from Ithamar. So back and forth, like that. The first lot fell to Jehoiarib, Jehoairib. The second to Jedaiah, Jedaiah. The The third to Harim, Hariem. The fourth to Sehorim, Seorim. The fifth to Melchijah, Malkijah. The sixth to Mijamin, Mijamin. The seventh to Hakkoz, Hakkoz. The eighth to Abijah, Abijah. And the ninth to Jeshua, Jeshua. The 10th to Shechaniah. The 11th to Eliashib, Eliashib. The 12th to Jakim. The 13th to Huppah, Huppah. The 14th to Jeshebib, Jeshebab. The 15th to Bilgah, Bilgah. The 16th to Immer. The 17th to Hezir. The 18th to Happiz, Happizz, Hapizzez. The 19th to Pethahijah, Pethahiah. The 12th to Jakeziel. The 20th to Jakeziel. The 21st to Jakin. The 22nd to Gamil. The 23rd to that looks to me almost like Delilah. Deliah. The 24th to Maziah. This was their appointed order of ministry. When they entered the temple of the Lord, according to the regulations prescribed for them by their forefather Aaron, as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded him. The rest of the Levites. As for the rest of the descendants of Levi, from the sons of Aram, Shuabel. From the sons of Shuabel, Jedehiah, Jehdeih. As for Rehabiah, from his sons, Izziah was the first. From Izharites, Izzi, Harites. Shulemoth, from the sons of Shulemoth, Jahath. From the sons of Hebron, Jeriah the first. He got a footnote A. 2 Hebrew manuscripts, some of the Septuagint manuscripts, and also 1 Chronicles 23:19. The sons of Jeriah. Okay. Amariah the second, Jaziel the third, and Jechemiam the fourth. The sons of Uziel, Micah, the sons of Micah, Shamir, so the brother of Micah, that's another one that looks like Isaiah with an extra S, Izziah. The sons of Izziah, Zechariah. The sons of Merari, Mahalai, Mushi. The sons of Jahaziah, Bino. The sons of Merari, from Jaziah, Bino, Shoham, Zechur, Zaccur, and Ibri. From Mahalai, Eleazar, who had no sons. From Kish, the son of Kish, Jeremiel. And the sons of Mushi, Mahalai, Eder, and Jeremoth. These were the Levites, according to their families. They also cast lots, just as their brothers, the descendants of Aaron, did, in the presence of King David and Zadok, Ahimelech, and the heads of families of the priests and of the Levites. The families of the oldest brother were treated the same as those of the youngest. So they were like, okay, these are the priests that are going to, do the burnt offerings and do these various things. That's who they are. And everyone else, it doesn't matter if you're a descendant of Aaron or if you're a descendant of Moses. Who cares? You're helping. You're not in front of the altar. So we're going to treat you exactly the same. since you're not there, allotting to do that. And that's the way it is for all of them. Like, and for all their descendants. Again, because that's how this society is set up. Whether we, in our current society, would do it that way or not, it's how they were set up. I'm not really advocating for it to go back or change from what we currently have. Just an understanding of what we came from. Because it wasn't just in Europe, this idea that you could only do whatever profession your parents did. That idea is also in here. I'm not advocating for us to go back to it. You just need to understand how foundational it is and where they might have gotten the idea from. So until the next video, friends. Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv, and we are in 1 Chronicles, and we are in chapter 25. The singers. David, together with the commanders of the army, set apart from some of the sons of Asaph, like that, yeah, like that, Asaph, Heman, Jeduthun, for the ministry of prophesying. That's right, prophesying. Like the ability to communicate with Creator, like prophesying, being able to see the future, because God has told you what will happen. Prophesying. That's what a prophet does. They have visions. So, if a prophet of the Lord is good because God is talking to them, then, it's not just a psychic. There's a difference between the ability to do something and it being good or bad, at least according to this cultural context right here. Prophesying. Accompanied by harps, lyres, and cymbals. Here is the list of men who performed this service. The sons of Asaph: Zachar, Joseph, Nethaniah, Azarela, Asarelah. The sons of Asaph were under the supervision of Asaph, who prophesied under the king's supervision. As for Jeduthun, from his sons, Jedaliah, Zeriah, Jeshiah, Shimei. It's got a footnote of B under Shimei. One of the Hebrew manuscripts, some Septuagint manuscripts, that's Greek, or most, do not have Shimei as one of Jeduthun's sons, so he's a disputed son. Hashabiah, Mattathiah. It's like Mattithiah. Sixth in all, under the supervision of their father Jeduthun, who prophesied using the harp in thanking and praising the Lord. So when singing music to God, he gained the ability to see the future, or to connect with God enough for God to tell him what will happen or what to do or what to say, or, whatever. As for Heman, we all feel closer to the Lord when we're praising him. That's a natural state. As for Heman, from his sons, Bukiah, Mattaniah, Mattaniah, Uziel, Shuabel, Jerimoth, Hadaniah, Hananiah, Eliathah, Eliathah, Gidalti, and Romamanti, Azer. Josh Bekashah, Joshbekashah, Mahalathi, Hothier, Mahazirah. These were all sons of Heman, the king's seer. They were given him through the promises of God to exalt him. C. What notice C? Hebrew, exalt the horn. Exalt the horn. So it sounds like they play the ram's horn or a trumpet or something. God gave Heman 14 sons and 3 daughters. Wow, that's a large family. All these men were under the supervision of their fathers for the music of the temple of the Lord, with cymbals, lyres, and harps, for the ministry at the house of God. Asaph, Jeduthun, and Heman were under the supervision of the king, along with their relatives, all of them trained and skilled in music for the Lord. They numbered 288. So 288 musicians. I wonder, for every church everywhere right now, are there any churches right now that have more than 288 skilled musicians in their employ right now? Probably. But I don't think in any one single church. Like those ones that are global, probably more than 288 total. But in one church, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. That's a whole lot of people to accommodate. Now, mostly, they're probably not all there at the same time, and they're probably coming in and out in different services and stuff. Young and old alike, teacher as well as student, cast lots for their duties. Nice. The first lot, which was for Asaph, fell to Joseph and his sons and relatives. Got a footnote of D. The Septuagint, that's the Greek. Hebrew does not have his sons and relatives. So just Asaph. The second to Gedaliah, he and his relatives and sons. Oh, we also have 12 with a footnote of E after Joseph's sons. I'm sorry, I missed that. See the total in verse 7. Hebrew does not have 12. Okay, so it has neither his sons and relatives nor the number 12 in Hebrew. But the second to Gedaliah, he and his sons and relatives, 12, does exist, because there's a counting going down the side. The third to Zechariah, his sons and relatives, 12. The fourth to Isri, and that's got a footnote of F, a variant of Zeriah, Z-R-I, his sons and relatives, 12. The fifth to Nethaniah and his sons and relatives, 12. The sixth to Bukiah, his sons and relatives, 12. The seventh to Jesareliah, Jesareliah, with a footnote of J, a variant of, really? Asariah, A-S-A-R-E, no, L-A, that's not an I-A, L-A, Asariah, okay, instead of Jesareliah, and his sons and relatives, 12. The eighth to Jesaiah, his sons and relatives, 12. The ninth to Mattaniah, his sons and relatives, 12. The 10th to Shimei, his sons and relatives, 12. The 11th to Azriel, and you got a footnote of H, a variant of Asaraliah. Is that right? No, H, a variant of Uziel. It's a variant of Uziel, sorry. Azriel is a variant of Uziel. The 11th to Azriel, his sons and relatives, 12. The 12th to Hashabiah, his sons and relatives, 12. The 13th to Shuabel, his sons and relatives, 12. The 14th to Mattathiah, his sons and relatives, 12. They all have 12 sons and relatives. The 15th to Jeremoth, his sons and relatives, 12. That seems weird. Maybe they only, no matter what how many relatives, so it's still 12. The 16th to Hananiah, his sons and relatives, 12. The 17th to Joshua Bekashiah, Joshabekashiah and his sons and relatives 12. The 18th to Hananiah, his 12 and his son Hananiah, his sons and relatives 12. The 19th to Malathiah, his sons and relatives 12. The 20th to Elathah, his sons and relatives 12. The 20th to Elthaniah, his sons and relatives 12. The 21st to Hothair, his sons and relatives 12. The 22nd to Gidalati, his sons and relatives 12. The 23rd to Mahazaoth, his sons and relatives 12. The 24th to Romamiti Ezer, Romamti-Ezer, his sons and relatives 12. So, okay. Evenly split, but because it's almost impossible that all of these people just happen to have 12 people in their family who could be eligible, or maybe they only pulled 12 people from their family to be eligible in order to keep it fair, something like that. I don't know. I'm just really? They all only had 12 male relatives that could be in the temple service when they counted all of them. There's no variation. That's either very, very remarkable, and we should all be like, what? Obviously, God's hand's at work there. Or maybe they had far more relatives, and only 12 of them were required to serve at the temple, which is much more likely to be what they were recording, right? So, the next chapter is about the gatekeepers. So yet another tribe of Levi, and exactly what their responsibilities were once they no longer had to carry around everything in the temple, which the other parts of the Bible don't actually cover. So if you want to find out what it means to be a gatekeeper, you're going to have to come back for the next video, friends. Hello, friends. So, Bible study. The Niv, Acts, chapter 21, and we're going to go 18 to 36, so it's the rest of chapter 21. We did the first half of it yesterday. Now, I'm going to say this, it largely involves Paul, right? Because Paul's who we've been following around. But I'm going to be a little bit honest here about me and the Apostle Paul. Me and Paul, I'm going to say, have a middling history. If Jesus hadn't come and talked to him after he was dead in a spirit form, I would argue that Paul can't even be considered an apostle, and he's in fact only a disciple, because it was after Jesus' death that he became a follower. And that's kind of like the definition. If you start following Jesus because an apostle spoke to you, you're a disciple, not an apostle. The apostles are the people who were hanging out with Jesus while he was alive, in my brain. Except it was the ghost of Jesus who showed up and talked to the Apostle Paul. So, therefore, he becomes an apostle because Jesus spoke to him directly. Now, Paul is stubborn, but he's certainly also a firebrand and dynamic. But he's got a shady past. Right? He comes into play in Stephen, right? In the story of Stephen as we've been going through this. Because he wants people to die for having their faith in Christianity until he becomes a Christian. Right? Until Jesus talks to him directly. So, the thing with being a follower, I know that he gets people out of jail a lot. Like, you got to chain him with multiple chains because he just lets people free. You can't stop him if you want to. The Romans are realizing this. These apostles, these are slippery. We got to make sure we get enough chains on them. Because if one chain didn't hold them, maybe five will. I mean, because they're thinking they're probably picking the lock. They don't realize the futility of, God is just dropping the chains off. You can't stop God, right? They don't know these things. But it doesn't mean that you don't pay for your mistakes. It means you don't argue about your punishment. Because as a follower, you realize you're going to make mistakes, and you realize the only way to stay on the narrow footpath is to accept your punishments and move forward, move through them, puzzle through them, figure them out. Because you're supposed to be the example for the rest of the world. So then you can't try to get out of things. There's no loopholes into heaven. There's acting right and getting there. And that's really basically all there is. So Paul is responsible for a lot of Christian deaths. If you remember, he had to get sent off to a bunch of places because nobody would trust him because he has blood on his hands. So he had been warned up coming to this by the Holy Spirit that if he goes to Jerusalem, he's going to get arrested. And he's going to be in prison. And he knows that he's seen it. And he's determined to do it anyway. Why? Because he's responsible for the deaths of others. And no amount of good works he's doing out there makes him escape the punishment that goes along with the crime he did. Because he was still free. The next day, verse 18, the next day, Paul and the rest of us went to see James, and all the elders were present. Paul greeted them and reported in detail what God had done among the Gentiles through his ministry. When they heard this, they praised God. Then they said to Paul, "You see, brother, how many thousands of Jews have believed, and all of them are zealous for the law. They have been informed that you teach all the Jews who live amongst the Gentiles to turn away from Moses, telling them not to circumcise their children or live according to our customs. What shall we do? They will certainly hear that you've come here," as he's been warned repeatedly by the Holy Spirit before this moment. But he's trying to be honorable. So, do what we tell you. There are 4 men with us who have made a vow. Take these men, join in their purification rites, and pay their expenses, so that they can have their head shaved. Then everyone will know there is no truth in these reports about you, that you yourself are living in obedience to the law. As for the Gentile believers, we have written them about our decision that they should abstain from food sacrificed to idols, from blood, and from meat of strangled animals, and from sexual immorality. The next day, Paul took the men and purified himself along with them. Then they went to the temple to give notice of the date when the purification would end and the offering would be made for each of them. So, even though he's running around telling people that you no longer have to act like a Jew, in order to try to keep him safe, they're telling him to present himself to the temple as if he's going to purify himself according to the laws of Moses with these men, so that they can try to trick the people in the temple and the Sanhedrin that he's not been doing exactly what he has actually been doing. So I wonder, before I continue on here, how you believe at home that it's even going to turn out if you don't know this story. Paul arrested is what the next parable is called. Okay, verse 27. When the 7 days were nearly over, so they let him go through with the ruse for a while, some Jews from the province of Asia saw Paul at the temple. They stirred up the whole crowd and seized him, shouting, "Men of Israel, help us! This is the man who teaches all men everywhere against our people and our law and this place." They are willing to testify to his blasphemy, which has been public, making it kind of dumb that they were ever trying to hide it. And besides, he has brought Greeks into the temple area and defiled this holy place. They had previously seen Trophimus, the Ephesian, in the city with Paul and assumed Paul had brought him into the temple area, which was actually not true. But it doesn't matter. Verse 30. The whole city was aroused. The whole city was aroused. And the people came running from all directions. So it's quite a mess, right? Quite the public spectacle being made. Seizing Paul, they dragged him from the temple, and immediately the gates were shut. Now, this is a very important statement, because this is a statement to every person who is a Sanhedrin, because this man was important in their realm. That once you go down this path and you do these things, we are not going to give you the opportunity to purify yourself and put you back in our temple and put you back in our world. When you choose Jesus, you choose him at the exclusion of the old way, because we are not willing to let you back in. They don't have forgiveness at the heart of them, right? So it's not at the heart of that particular type of teaching when it comes from this. For them, this is blasphemy, and there's no coming back. Because the tenet is not forgiveness. Jesus tells us to forgive an unlimited number of times. That's not true of every old ancient religious rite. While they were trying to kill him, news reached the commander of the Roman troops that the whole city of Jerusalem was in uproar. Because, of course, you can't have that. You can't have that disorder. The Roman commander will get in trouble. Like Pilate gets in trouble with Rome when Jerusalem is in rebellion. Or any of the towns in Judea. So they're not incentivized to leave it alone, is what I'm saying. He at once took some officers and soldiers and ran down to the crowd. When the rioters saw the commander and his soldiers, they stopped beating Paul. Because maybe they weren't really supposed to be doing that in the first place. The commander came up and arrested him. I don't know why they're beating you, but you must have done something wrong. And ordered him to be bound with 2 chains. Then he asked, none of this trickery stuff, then he asked who he was and what he had done. So he didn't even know who this person is. It doesn't matter. They're beating you. You must have done something wrong. Preconceived notions. Right? And then put him in chains. Some in the crowd shouted one thing, some another. And since the commander could not get the truth because of the uproar, there was too much noise. The truth comes in the quiet moments, not in the rushing about. That's why we must take time to heal so we can integrate the changes into our life. He ordered that Paul be taken into the barracks, away from the crowd, so they might be able to ask questions. When Paul reached the steps, the violence of the mob was so great, he had to be carried by the soldiers. The crowd that followed kept shouting, "Away with him." Actually interfering in the "away with him" in their yelling. You'll note, okay? Next thing is called Paul speaks to the crowd. Oh, I'm sorry, this doesn't actually take us to the end. That's next. That's tomorrow's parables we start. That's 37 is Paul speaks to the crowd. So away with him. Sometimes we get in our own way from what we want. And this path, this narrow footpath, does not allow you to not make amends for the mistake that you've made. You have to at least try. Even if you can't make it to that person because maybe it's not possible, you find another way to give back to the world in that way that makes up for what you did. You're supposed to leave the world better than you found it. This guy essentially had to be airlifted out by God using the Gentiles as protection from his own people because he got himself into this situation by the way he treated Christians to start off with, and then going back to Jerusalem when he was told not to. Now we know from the future books that he writes lots of letters during this time, because just because you're being punished, don't think God won't still find a way to make you give light to the world. If you are intent on giving light to the world, he will find a way while you're in your penance, while you're in your suffering, while you're in your pain. If you reach for him, he will find a way still to shine the holy light through you. So don't think this because you come to be in a place of a disciple of the Lord, it means you're never going to be punished for what you did wrong. No, you're supposed to want to do your penance so that you are taking your correction, because you're supposed to be looking to be teachable, knowing that you're flawed, and therefore knowing that you need to go seek in order to find so that you can be the better person. If you're unwilling to make the changes in your 3-day life, your 3D life, I don't know what's occurring in 3 days for any of us, but something big might be coming. Oh, that's the new moon. Actually, I do know what's coming in 3 days. That's the new moon in Cancer. If you are unwilling to make the changes in your 3D life, then, expect that you're just going to have to do your penance until you make the changes. But you're meant to be happy about it. Finding the grace and the light you can still shine as you go through the suffering. Kind of sort of being a part of the disciple. I know it doesn't sound too appealing. He never said it would be easy. He said it would be worth it. Because believe me, you do get things on the other side of that. After every penance, so after every lesson, is a big old blessing when you show him you choose him anyway. Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name is Amy. I am indeed an ordained minister. We are in Bible study. We are in the NIV. We are in, and we will be through 2025. In 2026, we will start the KJV. When we finish that in 2028, then we will start another version of the Bible, and we'll just keep doing versions. There's a lot of versions. I can't possibly get to them all. So, we are in this video, we are in the Psalms, book 1, Psalm 11, and we are going to do, all of it, verses 1 through 7. So let's jump in. Psalm 11, for the director of music of David. In the Lord I take refuge. How can you say to me? How then can you say to me, flee like a bird to your mountain? For look, the wicked bend their bows. They set their arrows against the strings. They shoot from the shadows at the upright in heart. That's right. Trolls are always hidden in the darkness. It's not new. When the foundations are being destroyed, what can the righteous do? The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord is on his heavenly throne. He observes the sons of men. His eyes examine them. The Lord examines the righteous. Examines us in here and in here. The Lord examines the righteous, but the wicked and those who love violence, his soul hates. On the wicked he will rain fiery coals of burning sulfur, and scorching wind will be their lot. For the Lord is righteous. He loves justice. Upright men will see his face.